Well, Mick Rocker and Bolters, history was made tonight on Friday Night SmackDown. And on this review, you'll see what I mean. Hey, what is going on, everyone? Well, I'm so glad you have took your time to spend with me right here today. I am your co-host for the MRB Wrestling Review Show, Mike McRock-Wilson, and we just saw Friday Night SmackDown. The show kicked off with, of course, Daniel Bryan. And he asked Kane to come out because he wanted something, to say to Kane. He keeps mentioning that, Daniel Bryan is the weak link of Team Hell No, when he kind of flipped that. He mentioned that Kane was the weak link, and he got a little furious and tried to chokeslam Daniel Bryan, only to have Randy Orton come out, to save Daniel Bryan. And even though Daniel Bryan stated to Orton, I don't need anyone to save me, just added to the interesting dynamic between Orton, Bryan, and Kane. Very tremendous drag for a segment, and then the Shield was shown up on the Titantron to interrupt those three and talk about, we have never been defeated. No other three guys has ever defeated us in a six-man tag match, which is kind of foreshadowing, to say the least, right? Of course. And I like that. Every, segment usually has one of those comic relief moments. And so, before I go any further, that line, "Are you breaking up with me?" Kane to Daniel Bryan. It was just, the perfect timing to actually say that line and make it sound so cheesy. It was very well delivered. Not only that, but the first segment as well, foreshadowing what's to come in the main event, which I will get to later on this review of Friday Night SmackDown. Also last night, Sheamus went one-on-one with Antonio Cesaro. What I like about this match is that Damien Sandow came out before the bell was rung, stating that I will beat you, Sheamus, at the kickoff for Payback. Now, again, I really don't understand the logic why they would put this match as the kickoff match at Payback, because the WWE spent so much time into television time with these two superstars to build up this one match, this rivalry between Sheamus and Damien Sandow should have been on the card on Payback instead of the pre-show match, my opinion. But with that said, Sheamus and Antonio Cesaro, it was a good match, but it felt like that the execution of the finish was a little off, because it felt like, okay, we need to wrap this up quickly. So Sheamus broke kick to Cesaro, pins him 1-2-3. That I didn't mind. It's just that it felt like that the execution, how, okay, I'll put it this way. You know how every match has its beginning, climax, and finish? Well, it's like there was like hardly any, finish. It was just broke kick, and that was it, 1-2-3. So even though the execution of the finish fell flat, I like that Sheamus got the win, and he has momentum going into his match against Damien Sandow as the kickoff show at Payback. Also last night, another montage of the Wyatt family was being on the via television screen and on the Titantron on SmackDown. I'm wondering when they're going to debut. I got a feeling they might debut on the Raw or SmackDown after Payback. Usually that's the case when, a superstar or superstars debut, and it's, really the logical thing to do when you debut a superstar or superstars. So, am I right? We'll see next week on Monday Night Raw after Payback. Also last night, before going into the tag team match, It was Jericho and Del Rio versus Ziggler and Big E, with a backstage segment with Teddy Long, promoting the new hamburgers and Dolph Ziggler, talking about that he will win his match against Del Rio to Teddy Long. Again, comic relief moments. Shortly after, Big E Langston takes a few bites out of the hamburger. As soon as Teddy Long was about to eat it anyway, after Ziggler left. It was just one of those moments where you go, this guy can do anything. And when I mean this guy, I mean Big E Langston. They're adding more to his character, which I like. Also last night, Heath Slater went one-on-one with the Great Khali. I'm surprised that Heath Slater actually won a match. Interesting. And of course, with that said, it's not really a match to draw to the pay-per-view of Payback. But I guess they just needed a match to fill in just for that 10 minutes segment, because they needed to fill something in. Also, speaking of fill-ins, what I liked about SmackDown last night was that sometimes the guys that do the montages of the of superstars and etc. really don't get enough credit, right? And the video montage they created for CM Punk is absolutely outstanding. It really adds to the hype of CM Punk's return. And speaking of hype on that match, I will also get to more on that later. Also, like I said, the tag team match, it was Chris Jericho and Alberto Del Rio versus Dolph Ziggler and Big E Langston. What I like about this match is that the first half of the match was really teasing the one-on-one World Championship match coming at Payback. And after commercial, the second half, they just went all out. Two of them, Dolph Ziggler and Del Rio, were going at it until the finish. Del Rio getting the roll-up on Dolph Ziggler, having momentum on his side, even though I think Dolph Ziggler may retain, which will be another video I will do within the next few hours. I think that yes, Dolph Ziggler might retain his title, but only that in the way they're doing it is actually pretty good, because having Del Rio pin the world champ just gains Del Rio momentum for his match. Even though I think it might come up on the losing end, it makes sense that Del Rio got the victory. And I did notice before Del Rio got the pin that Del Rio was kind of favoring his head a little. I don't know. I really don't know if he's 100% from his concussion. It feels like he's forced to go in this World Championship match, and he may not be even 100%. It sucks. Vince McMahon, you're killing your superstars. When they're ready, they're ready. I don't think he's 100%. When he's 100%, have him defend the World Championship. It's just one of those things that Vince McMahon has to do for his show and to draw money for a pay-per-view. Really, when it all boils down to it, just, don't sue anyone because you're not going to win against the boss, Vince McMahon, because you know what? You got no chance in hell, just like his theme song. Anyway, moving on. And then shortly after that tag team match, Chris Jericho and Paul Heyman with a backstage segment talking about the upcoming match at Payback against CM Punk. Again, comic relief moments. Paul Heyman rambling on about CM Punk being the best in the world, and what does Jericho do? He taps the microphone and hits up on the edge of it, and hits Paul Heyman right in the face. It was just one of those things you just gotta... Oh man, it was just genius the way that was delivered, because it's one of those comic relief moments that you feel like, oh man, that was just a good ending to a promo. Again, building up hype to the match. But here's the thing, will CM Punk even wrestle Chris Jericho at Payback? Maybe they're going to be teasing. Here's what I think. They might tease it at Payback, but it might not be to the fullest. They may wrestle a little bit, but not too much. Either that or CM Punk, will come out, do a promo, and leave. I will get to my predictions later on within the next few hours, but until then, I think CM Punk should show up at Payback because it's in Chicago. And if he don't show up, everyone who bought tickets to see the show will want their money back because that's Punk's hometown. Come on. All right? So, moving on. Caitlyn versus Hoxana. Fresh off of what happened on Monday Night Raw, when AJ, when it was revealed that Biggie Langston was the secret admirer, only to have AJ being crazy the way she is, which was all a plan all along. It's one of those things where Kaylen was actually on par of playing on that emotions in her match against Hoxana. It really wasn't a match. So, the bell never rang, but what I like about that was that Caitlyn benefited from this match. And again, like I said, she was on par. Great execution in this match. And I'm surprised AJ didn't show up just for the sake of that, but it was smart for her not to show up because of, the emotion that she's playing on right now. So, kudos to Caitlyn. I never thought I'd say that, but, the show must go on. So, moving on. Curtis Axel versus Wade Barrett in a non-title match. Interesting match. It wasn't really much of a wrestling match, but the match had really good flow to it. Because at first, Wade Barrett didn't want to fight Axel because, he wanted to save his energy for Payback, right? So, what happened was that it resulted to The Miz coming out and just, pulling the audience in to let them fight, the fight chants, and, ring the bell, let's get it on, okay. Wade Barrett and Axel are actually wrestling. And what I like about this is that when the two of them were outside, of course, sometimes in a wrestling match, when there's like someone outside, the other superstars will go outside too. It's one of those cliched moments, right? And another thing that was cliched, even though everything was cliched out of this segment, it really had good flow, like I said, because during outside, The Miz was watching at ringside, and Wade Barrett and Axel was outside as well, and Axel was going after Barrett, only to hit The Miz. And then when Axel got the pin on Wade Barrett, in comes Miz. It's Skull Crush finales, Curtis Axel. Excellent flow on this match, and the Miz getting the last word on Axel, which kind of, foreshadows maybe a pinfall victory. Curtis Axel maybe pinning the Miz in the triple threat match. I think right now it looks like Curtis Axel should win. And then something the Michael Cole mentioned, or JBL mentioned, one of them mentioned that, Sunday's Father's Day, as well as the pay-per-view, and Curtis Axel's father, Mr. Perfect, was like, one of the greatest Intercontinental Champions. I mean, what better night for Curtis Axel to become Intercontinental Champion because of that day? It's Father's Day. It makes perfect sense, right? Maybe that was planned all along. Who knows? But sometimes you can't plan concussions. So I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, with Fandango out, with a concussion. You just never know with those type of things, right? So I think Curtis Axel, right fitting to be Intercontinental Champion. And the main event. Wow. Just wow. Really, wow. It was The Shield. Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins, taking Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton, and Kane. History was made. And what I really liked about this match was the last few minutes when Kane got rid of Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose outside, right on the ring bell area, that area, and then it was just Orton waiting for Seth Rollins to go up the top rope, perfectly executed RKO. Daniel Bryan goes for the no-lock and taps Seth Rollins out. History was made. The first time ever the Shield lost a 6-man tag team match, and Daniel Bryan, his reaction after submitting Seth Rollins was just absolutely amazing. I mean, this guy can really do no wrong right now. He has momentum on his side, even though this loss really didn't hurt the Shield, because if it was Randy Orton or Kane getting the pinfall or submission victory over the Shield, that would just destroy the Shield's momentum. So with Daniel Bryan gaining momentum, that's the reason why it didn't hurt the Shield losing this match. And right now, Daniel Bryan, oh man, just really going over, and the way the fans reacted, like I said, absolutely amazing. But I think that if the Shield should not lose the titles too soon this Sunday at Payback, and I'll get to that on my prediction video. But that was my review of Friday Night SmackDown. I'm your co-host for the MRB Wrestling Review Show, Mike McRock-Wilson. And to all you viewers watching this installment of the MRB Wrestling Review Show, get plenty of rest. And always, do your best.